Hey, Cameron Porter here, and you're watching Muscle Mindset. And today I want to talk about something that I feel is super important for anyone working on any skill or skill set to know, and that is that there is a learning process. There's stages to learning something. And I want to talk about this just a little bit because this applies to your mindset, your programming, your beliefs, your outcome with that, maybe even more than another skill set. Like I can pick up a new I have a natural tendency to work with my hands and so when I pick up a new power tool, it only takes me a second to get through these learning stages that I'm going to talk about. But mindset really wasn't that way for me, isn't that way for me still. Um, I can point out exactly where I'm at in these stages of learning that I'm going to discuss. And I wouldn't say that I'm all the way, you know, unconscious about where I'm at yet. So, anyhow, I'm going to give you some analogies that are awesome. You know, I love analogies that will paint a picture of what I mean by these different stages. So I'm going to use riding a bike. I learned how to ride a bike when I was 3 years old without training wheels. I was almost four, I'm sure. But uh, when I very first, was on my own, and my dad had let go of the bike, and I had to rely on, you know, all the little steps that I'd been learning one at a time. I had to rely on all of them just coming together, right? Or I would have eaten shit. And thank goodness I didn't. I actually remember something different than that. I had grasped those different steps and things in such a way that even the first time he let go of me and I was riding my bike, I remember having some pretty good stability on it, and I even ramped off of a little curb, just little, like a threshold, probably on the driveway. But what I'm going to talk about are the four stages. Now, the number one stage is the first stage of learning anything. It's when it's when you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know how bad you are, basically. So not a bad thing because once you know what you don't that you don't know a bunch, then you can take the steps to learning it, right? Now the second stage of learning something is being consciously incompetent. Now this means that now you know you're incompetent, but you're consciously aware of your incompetence. So, like, let me use a skill other than riding a bike because that one I kind of picked up naturally. How about the business I'm running right now? It involved a lot of technical stuff on a computer, and I've been working for years to learn that skill. Years. When I first was learning, it's like, what is this? Like, what am I looking at on this screen? And now I can teach people about it. But when I first started, I like didn't even know what I didn't know, right? Stage one. And then I started to learn, and I was consciously aware of how incompetent I was. My first ads that I put on Facebook, because we run an advertising agency, essentially a business consultant um, company, and a lot of that consulting includes systems for growth, and those are all technical, and they were brand new things to us at a time when we were learning them, and we knew how much we didn't know. It was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So then the third stage is when you become consciously competent. Took me over a year at least of learning the new skill set of online digital marketing. At least a year, it seemed like, before I had like a firm foothold and I was consciously able to do what I'm, well, put all these systems into place. I could build an entire campaign, the ad and the landing pages and the email sequence, and they're all tied in together, firing properly, and the tracking is all in place properly, but it's still conscious. Like, still hurt my head a little bit to even think about. And if I were to let go at that time, let's say I was riding a bicycle, I'd crash into a curb and be like, oh, I have to be thinking about this. So that first time my dad let go of me on the bike, I was consciously competent. I had built up the skills enough that as long as I was thinking about it, as long as there wasn't a rock for me to avoid or an animal runs out in front of me, as long as there's no distractions and I can just keep my conscious brain, the 5% of our brain right here, on that, um, then I was good, right? So when you're driving a car, same kind of thing. At first, don't talk to someone that's learning how to drive. You might cause an accident, and then they become consciously competent. It's still kind of questionable. You don't really want to throw too many curveballs at them, but they can handle it if it happens. They're still consciously there. The fourth stage, this is where stuff gets fun, is when you've learned a skill set so well, you put in the steps for so long, you've done so much repetition, and you've ingrained it so much that you don't even have to think about it, and you're good at it. This is where most people are with driving right now. You should be, and if you're not, get better at driving. This is where, like, you know, if some kid runs out on the road, you're holding a conversation with somebody, you still miss that kid, you hit the brakes in time, all that stuff. That's an awful scenario, right? But that's what unconsciously competent means, is like, let's say a mattress flies off of a car in front of you on the freeway, and you're actually messing with the radio at that moment, even though your eyes are, paying attention. You don't even have to think about it. You'll dodge that mattress and keep on driving. You might even finish changing the radio station. Um, and this is what it means to be unconsciously competent. You you don't even have to think about it anymore. You're real good at it. This is kind of where I got to with running certain power tools, and this is where I am with the ads and the funnels and explaining those things, and then also consulting business owners. 6 years ago, I was not able to consult them without doing a massive amount of learning on my own. Now I can consult almost any business owner. I can jump on any bicycle, I can drive almost any vehicle, and I don't have to put a lot of conscious thought into it because it's so deeply ingrained. This is like where my oldest sister is. If she jumps on a piano or a violin, she could be in her sleep, literally playing this instrument and making beautiful music. Um, and that's about as clear as I can make it. So with your mindset, it's the same thing. You might have to you might have to spend some time. What if it takes you 2 years? It's worth it. What if it takes you 2 years to add a steady stream of the proper mindset stuff? Let's say you're listening to just a bundle of positive people on YouTube, or you're reading books like Think and Grow Rich, The Four Agreements, uh, Outwitting the Devil. There's some really good books out there, guys. And what if you were just spending 2 years out of your long life cycle? That's a tiny amount of time. What if that was all it took? Could take you 2 months, but I'm talking about, you know, the longer, um, the longer road here. It's still worth it to become unconsciously competent and have your thoughts just producing exactly what you want around you, and life going exactly the way that you know want it to. You almost feel like you control things. um, that's how it is when a mindset is unconsciously competent at putting on a positive frequency. Now, your mindset is everything, guys. Everything, everything, everything. It'll determine how far you make it as a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher. It'll determine how far you make it as a salesperson, or as a human being. Like, that's how important it is. You could have all the integrity, you could be the best human on the planet, and you're still going to have a governor in your life if you don't have your mindset completely, completely strong, like impenetrable. Um, oh, it's amazing what happens. And I'm kind of rambling now, but the unconsciously competent stage is a stage that I've been noticing myself in more and more with this, where let's talk about previous videos where I mentioned tracking, where I catch myself and I'm like, what am I thinking right now? Okay, all right. I'm thinking about some pretty cool stuff. Like I'm thinking about how I can serve other people, and cool ideas come to me. When I catch myself thinking, I'm thinking about how happy and grateful I am. I'm not. I'm not thinking so much about um, some of the old thoughts that used to play on repeat, like how insecure I was, or how am I going to pay this bill, or I wonder what this person thinks about me. Less of those. It's not like I don't have those yet. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, I don't know that I'm completely unconsciously competent in stage 4 of where I want to be with my mindset. It's partly why I'm here. I'm with you on this journey to fix the mindset, to reprogram myself so that the world doesn't do it for me. Because that's what will happen. If you don't reprogram your own self and build your own strong muscle bound mindset, then the world will put you on autopilot. It'll automatically you'll just be kind of going along, and really the sky becomes the limit when you build a strong mindset. So I hope this helped, and stay tuned. I'm going to keep adding videos on here. Remember, there's 4 stages. It might be awkward and uncomfortable to get through the first couple of those stages where you're incompetent, and then you're consciously, you know, competent. But it's worth it. Like get through that tough part, and then it starts to get easier and easier and easier. Just like tying a shoe, riding a bike, driving a car, building an ad campaign. They become that way. It doesn't happen overnight. Most things don't. So take that into consideration. Remember your whys. Why do you even want to fix your mindset? Are you fed up finally with life not being what you want it to be? Are you finally like tired of it? And you're just like, that's my why. That's a pretty big why if you ask me. I've been there. That's part of my big why is no, I'm done. I'm done with this old crap that I keep seeing show up, and it shows up because of the programming. So that is a big part of why I'm on this journey to fix my mindset and reprogram myself. And I am grateful that you're here with me doing this. Share my stuff. I haven't really gone out there and like ran traffic to any of this or anything like that. I kind of want to just keep adding these videos, and then as they can help other people, share them with others. Subscribe if you want to know if you want to get notifications. You've got to hit the bell notification toggle down below after you've subscribed, and then feel free to share this with somebody that could use a boost in their mindset, and maybe they just don't know that it's just like any other skill. You can build it up, you can change it and practice it and perfect it. You'll always be perfecting, by the way. There's no such thing as perfect, so you'll always be. It's an ongoing thing, but it's a beautiful, fun process. And once you get going on that path, it's really exciting to see what the world can look like through a new perspective, because your perspective comes from your mindset. So this is me tuning out, and I look forward to putting more videos up and seeing more of you follow and watch these things, and I hope that I can help more people out. Thanks, and have a great day.